Hello and welcome to the Cove, the home of the Australian Profession of Arms. As part of our ongoing Bushfire Assist series, today I'm joined by the Regimental Sergeant Major of the 2nd Division, Warrant Officer Class 1, Darren Murch. And we're going to be having a short chat talking about lessons learnt through Bushfire Assist, as well as some of the leadership attributes of the part-time force and what those members of the part-time force within the 2nd Division have coming up this year. So RSM, there's obviously the part-time force have played a major role in Operation Bushfire Assist 1920, and at all levels leadership has been evident. What are some of the key things that you've seen as the Regimental Sergeant Major of the 2nd Division of leadership attributes within the part-time force?
Yeah, Op Bushfire Assist has been a great opportunity for the 2nd Division and for the part-time force as a whole. Divided into 3 joint task force across 3 states has provided an excellent opportunity for our leaders to learn how to lead and experience leading over a dispersed area of operations. During our visits, I've identified many things, and we hear of from the community, for the community use often. This is an example of our leaders being able to lead within their community.
That's excellent. We've already published some articles on the Cove by junior leaders saying what a privilege it was, but also the steep learning curve. For many of them, this was their first operational deployment.
Certainly. Some are directly graduated recently from their promotion courses. We've had young officers for the first time on graduation commanding command posts. And what they've learnt there has been invaluable. From working theoretical on their courses to apply that practically within an interagency organisation, dealing with their civilian community has been an opportunity for them that they would not have got anywhere else.
And I think what many of our viewers may not understand is that there is a perception that something like Op Bushfire Assist is simpler than warfighting operations, but in essence their training has been in warfighting operations, and they've needed to show the adaptability and versatility to operate in an environment completely different to that which their training is, the scenarios in which their training is set.
You're exactly right, sir. The opportunities provided on our promotion courses, both for NCOs and our officers, has really set the conditions for our people to be able to lead dependent on the situation they find themselves in. We see examples of officers for the first time in command posts leading those command posts. We see our junior NCOs and our soldiers on the ground dealing and communicating with local farmers to actually come up with solutions for them, for those people that may not be able to think clearly because of the situations they've been through. Our foundation training has been the benchmark that our leaders will be able to measure themselves against in order to be able to make great decisions on the ground.
And in essence, I suppose this proves that training a force, be it full-time or part-time, is not just about the physical skills required of their trade, but actually investment in the intellectual component of fighting power, critical thinking skills, the ability to understand and process large amounts of information to make a decision in a very complex and fast-moving situation.
Information is available to all of us at any time that we need it. As a result, we need to be teaching people how to think, and our courses do that. Yes, there's technical aspects and practical aspects that we need to work through on our promotion courses, but if our soldiers and officers know how to think, they can adapt to the situation and make sound decisions that are measured off their foundation training, as well as being able to determine what's right on the ground.
So considering the lessons learnt from Op Bushfire Assist 1920, what are some of the attributes or leadership lessons that you want to take forward in training the part-time force over the next year or so? One
of the key lessons that I've identified as I've met the soldiers in the field is they need to trust their personal style of leadership. An article recently published on the Cove talks about charismatic leadership. The essence of charismatic leadership is about being transformational in your application. And while somebody may not be naturally charismatic, to create an environment where they're able to transform the way people think and act on the ground within a task is a skill that our people has naturally emerged during Bushfire Assist. As they reflect on this in time, they can identify the skills that they use to be transformational and actually continue to practice that within their foundation warfighting application of leadership. That's been an important observation that I've made amongst our people when I've seen them operating within the community for the community.
And I suppose that's the essence of good leadership, is being able to bring a team along with you in very different circumstances than they expect to be found. That's the essence of a good leader.
Yes. Another important situation that our part-time leaders have found themselves in is working in an integrated workforce. That is, civilian agencies, the regular army have been within these teams, civil police, state emergency and so on. For our leaders to be able to adapt to that quickly, bring their civilian skills and knowledge and attitudes with them, has been allowed them to do that easily. And to be able to influence a wide spectrum of employments outside of the military really shows that our basic training within the military, our foundation training, allows them to do that.
And in fact, a lot of the reports coming back from Bushfire Assist, which are so complimentary of the leadership of the part-time force, shows that they're a critical part of a total force, of a total army, because they actually already transcend the sometimes closed thinking which you can get within institutions such as the army, who train for war fighting every day. Because they operate in a paradigm where they have a military career but also a civilian career, obviously their families, they actually tend to be broad thinkers and very adaptive thinkers themselves.
They bring so many skills, our part-time force, to the military. It's an absolute strength that the part-timers have. To apply that within a military context goes a long way to achieving domestic operation outcomes. This is a strength that we should capitalise on. There's plenty of opportunities that our part-time soldiers and officers have that we should look to further engender within our normal training, our day-to-day training, as well as our training continuums.
So what are some of the highlights that the soldiers and officers of the 2nd Division can look forward to, or the part-time force can look forward to? Sometimes when you finish an operational tour or an experience like this, there can be a natural low when you get back to the day-to-day training or the day-to-day grind of drill nights after you've had such a seminal experience. What are some of the things that our part-time force can look forward to?
So over the last couple of months, the headquarters of the 2nd Division has been in some deep planning to really look ahead into the rest of the training year and even into 2021. We are very conscious that our part-time force has used up a lot of the goodwill that they have at home and with their employers. They've committed a great amount of time in this first quarter of the year. So we need to be conscious that we don't go at a pace and create a tempo that fatigues our workforce. That's been foremost within our planning. As a result of that, we're looking at alternate options. How do we deliver training in a manner that accommodates the availability of our people? Concentrating our courses is an option. Providing competition, providing interesting training, maintaining the frequency of our Tuesday nights and our monthly weekends is important to keep those touch points occurring. When we do come together, we need to make sure that it is quality training, that our soldiers get qualifications from that training when they do come together, so we don't waste the valuable time that our soldiers offer us.
So, in essence, it's a quest for balance whilst ensuring that all time spent doing military training is worthwhile time, and that no one's time within the part-time force is wasted, because in essence that just undermines the balance.
That's exactly the message that I received from the students on the Subject 1 for Corporal course that I visited recently at Singleton. When they attend military training, they want to ensure that it's going to be quality. They want to be listened to, they want their views tested, they want to be able to expand their skill sets. So when our people concentrate, we need to make sure that we provide absolute quality when they attend the training.
So what we've learnt over the last few months, not that we needed to relearn it, but it doesn't matter whether you're part of the part-time force or the full-time force. Leadership and within the soldiers and officers across the Army, and the defining characteristic of the Australian Army, regardless of what your service category is one of professionalism.
Whether we're part-time or regular, professionalism is one of our values. It's important that we stand up to that and we recognise what professionalism means. We are a part of the profession of arms. Being a professional within it expects us to do so much more. We have our job statement, we have our roles, we have our appointments that we need to be responsible and accountable to. But there's also some additional work in our own time. Reading professional papers, reading books such as Call Sign Chaos by Jim Mattis. They're examples on how we can actually be professional and apply the other Army values that our service and the Australian Defence Force expect of us.
Regardless of whether you're full-time or part-time?
That's right, sir.
Regimental Sergeant Major of the 2nd Division, thank you very much for joining us here today at the Cove, the home of the Australian profession of arms.
It's been a pleasure, sir.